Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing part 2 of my games I saved from Hurricane Milton. This is going to include everything with the exception of PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. Why not PlayStation 1 and 2? Because I got enough of those to do a third video, so yep, there will be a third video. This is going to be everything with the exception of what was in part 1, which was my handhelds, Atari 2600, and vintage computer games, and PS1 and PS2. So this is kind of the meat of my collection. This is where the bulk of the value of my collection is at. So guys, let's get started. We're going to start with NES. I got a couple of these a few years ago when they come in the store. I did not have them in my collection, or I had a loose copy, and now I've got a couple complete and boxed copy. First is the Bard's Tale. Happy to get this one. And then Conquest of the Crystal Palace. This one, a buddy of mine let me buy from him a while back. I got Dragon Warrior 2, 3, and 4. This is Dragon Warrior 3, a complete copy. And a no manual copy of Ultima Quest of the Avatar. I've got Exodus, a loose copy of this. I still need to get Warriors of Destiny for the NES. That's the only one I'm missing right now. Next, I got a couple Super Nintendo games. I don't know if you know, a while back I had mentioned that I had gotten rid of a lot of my collection for a few systems. Like Genesis, I got rid of almost everything with the exception of a couple games. Same thing with Super Nintendo. The reason I'm able to play them digitally other ways, like I've got a Genesis, the Mini. I got both of those, so a lot of those games are on there. Same thing with Super Nintendo. I've got like different ways I can play Chrono Trigger, which you saw in my first video. Same thing with Final Fantasy 4 and 5 and 6. I got rid of those because I've got multiple ways I can play them as well. So here's a couple. This is a no manual copy of Super Mario RPG. I will probably get rid of this game when I get the Switch version of it, but we'll see first. Haven't gotten it yet, so... And then a complete copy of Ultima, the False Prophet. And yes, I have multiple ways to play this, but these are kind of cool. I kept just a couple Super Nintendo games, and this was one of them I decided to keep. Now we've got N64. I got rid of a lot of my stuff, but I didn't really have a lot of N64 games. I really only collect a couple different genres of games, like adventure and RPGs. So, action-adventure games. So this is what I've got in my collection, and these are some of the more pricier games. I've got Zelda, Ocarina of Time. This is the collector's edition, loose. Then I've got Shadowgate 64. I got this just a few years ago. Came into the store and I decided to grab it. Then I have got some complete and box games. We've got Aiden's Chronicle. We have got Ogre Battle 64. Zelda Majora's Mask, Quest 64, and Paper Mario 64. Okay, I had mentioned I had a Genesis and Master System, another system that I got rid of 90% of my games. I've got a system, I just never really played it, so I decided to get rid of it. Kept this one though. It is King's Quest. Quest for the Crown. I got this just a few years ago. Decided to keep it. Really cool game. And I have got a copy of Shadowrun for Genesis. This is another one I decided to keep. I did not have another way to play this one, so I kept it in my collection. And here's a system you don't see very often. I've got a system, but it's broke. That is a TurboGrafx CD. But I've still kept these games in my collection. We have got Exile. We've got a no manual copy of Cosmic Fantasy 2. I have Ys Book 1 and 2. And Ys 3 Wonders of Ys. Okay. Let us do this one since I just did those games. This is probably the most expensive Sega CD game I've got in my collection. Probably will never get rid of it. This is Magical Popful Mail. Someday I would like to sit down and beat that game. Now we have got the Sega Saturn games. This is where there's a bulk of my expensive games are in this collection. We've got Dragon Force. We got Shining Wisdom. Albert Odyssey. No manual copy of Shining Force 3. I may have the manual somewhere in storage. We'll have to see. I've not been able to find it for quite a long time, so now I just consider it no manual. Magic Knight Ray Earth. This one has spiked significantly in the last few years. Shining the Holy Ark. And probably the most expensive game besides that vintage computer game I was talking about. That is Panzer Dragoon Saga. The reason I keep a lot of these games is there's not an easy way to be able to play them. They're not emulated real well. So maybe in the future they'll do re-releases for some of these games, I can hope. Next we have got, we'll do the Wii games next. Okay, we have got Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. The Metroid Prime Trilogy Collector's Edition. It has got the metal case. And a sealed copy. At some point I will probably open this up to play it because I really do want to play it. That is The Last Story. Next are my GameCube games. I went through and got rid of a lot of my GameCube games, but these are some of the ones I kept. Again, these are some of the more expensive ones. Zelda Four Swords. One of my favorite games, Luigi's Mansion. One of the only GameCube games that I actually completed. Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. We have got Paper Mario, the 1000-year door. We've got the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 2-disc bonus disc. It's got like the Master Quest on it as well. We have the Zelda Collector's Edition. Zelda Wind Waker. Another one of my favorite GameCube games, Animal Crossing. We got Pokemon Coliseum. We have Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. And I even have, in the complete in box, Pokemon Coliseum bonus disc. This is the only way, I think it was Jirachi, the only way you could get him. Okay, and to end it, I'm going to do a few PS4 games. This is a series, it's a 4-game series that I recently got. I had the PS3 versions and I traded them into the store because an old lady, 80 years old, loves JRPGs. She wanted to play them, and I decided to get these instead because they also came in around the same time, so I just traded them out. We have got, it is the Trails of Cold Steel series. We have got Trails of Cold Steel 1 Decisive Edition, Trails of Cold Steel 2 Relentless Edition. We have got Trails of Cold Steel 3. This is the Early Enrollment Edition. And Trails of Cold Steel 4 Frontline Edition. I started playing the first one. I would love to be able to sit down at some point and complete those because the little bit I played of the first one, it's a really, really good game. So guys, this is about 45 games, and last video was like 56 games. This is about $7,600 in value, just these 45 games. Like I said, this is probably the bulk of my collection. So next video, you will see PS1 and PS2 games. It's a little over 50 games. So guys, again, thanks for watching.